Hello, friends. This is Sandy, and we're going to create my Beautiful Butterflies 8-page project in this video. You will want the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set and the Beautiful Butterflies embossing folder. And I just want to show you, I also used the Beautiful Butterflies die cuts to create. You've got in the front of your kit, if you've got the whole 8-page kit, you've got all these fun butterflies. That's what I used to create this project for you. So you've got a bag full of butterflies and pieces and all these things. I have made it life a little easier for the sake of the video, and I've done some of the footwork ahead of time. So if you want to do maybe screenshots, if you're doing the whole project, or if you're doing just a 2-page set, like if you, instead of getting the whole thing, you ordered or got just this page here, then all of your butterflies are all picked out for you, and you can stamp and color and embellish them however you want. But I used black ink to stamp these guys. And you're going to use your scissors. You've got a white piece of paper in there. You're going to attach that white piece of paper to this fun butterfly and cut it out. Use your scissors and cut that out, and then attach this butterfly to the body, or the body to the wings. And that's what creates this one. Then I did use some pens and just did some fun little dots to add dimension. So each of the butterflies that I stamped in black, I also added some kind of, white gel pen or some markers that coordinate with the papers. So totally up to you. The stamp set, this little dot, comes from this stamp right here. So you'll see me use that in a lot of different places. That's where that came from. A black journaling pen is fun. If you look, let's see. Oh, not on this one. Never mind. I just used the marker. Let's see if I wrote it down. I did. The markers I used are Berry Burst Stampin' Write. So the Berry Burst color, and then white gel pen is what I used for this layout. So pretty simple to, I'm going to go ahead and assemble it. Now, let me pull this up close again. I took the two blue 6x6 pieces that are in here, and I ran them through the embossing folder. I put them in here and ran that through. Totally up to you if you want to do that. Just for the sake of the video, you know how to emboss. I'm not going to do it for the video, but it's a fun little addition. So first thing we're going to do is add our blue 6x6 and our kind of purpley blue 6x6, 3 inches in on either side so that they line right up. Then you've got two 3x6s that are going to run the same distance. So that's going to be 3 inches in, and that'll give you 3-inch squares in all four corners. And we line things up. There we go. So that's the base for that. Then you're going to use your 8.5 by 7.5 piece. One side's like a smoky gray, the other side's black. You go with whichever one makes you happy. And this is going to be a little further up. So you want a little more space here than up here, but evenly spaced as best you can left and right. And your pictures are a 4x6, a 3x4, and a 4x4. So if you don't have um, your stuff all ready to go, you can just add, with pencil. Let me grab my pencil. It'll be very light, but you'll be able to write 4x6, 3x4, and 4x4. If that's what you decide to do, you also could have your pictures coming out from wherever you want them to come from. Okay, so here's what we're adding. We've got our happy birthday, or whatever you decide you want to stamp on that piece is kind of your title for the page. Now, if you aren't sure how your pictures are going to go, we can take that and bring it right up here. So I'll pull it right up like this, so that now you still have, you could do a three by four, 4x4, 3x4, 4x, you could fit more pictures on there if you had smaller ones, didn't have taller ones. Giving you just a few options there, my friends. Now we've got a blue butterfly. You can use foam tape if you want to attach your butterflies, if you wanted them to pop a little more. So we've got one there. Then this one's up here. And you can color them however it makes you happy. Again, with markers, with gel pens, with colored pencils, whatever brings you joy. So we got some butterflies there. I've got one with a white body. Got it right down in here. Go. Then an orange one with a purple body, pink body. Down in here, we've got that big one that I haven't cut out yet. That's going to go right in here. And then one of the little blue butterflies right over here. Now, again, to finish this off, I used some stamps and stamped through here on the top and the bottom of that. And I added a little bit of bling right here, these two little gems. So take a look at your stash. If you got the full kit, the gems are in there, but if you didn't, then whatever bling you've got. Let's move on to our next page. So this one starts the same way, blue, the purple, then these ones, so that you've got your 3x3 squares in the middle. If you want, you can add your stamping. And now I'm going to do the same thing. This one's going to be kind of like an inch down onto the blue, evenly spaced left and right. So I'm down into here about an inch, just about evenly spaced left and right. And then I'm going to take my 3x4 well and put that right up here. Hopefully straight. Okay, now from our butterflies, we've got this big, beautiful one that's going to be flying right into whatever words you decide to use. So I used Time to Celebrate from my beautiful butterflies stamp set. And then we're just going to add the rest of our butterflies from our stash for this page. Got big blue up there. And again, color and decorate as desired. So depending on, how your photos fall and how much journaling you've got, you'll have more or less space for all of that. All right. And then add your photos. The bling I did on this one is 3 little guys up here and 2 big guys down here. Let's move on to our next set of pages. All right. To get this one started, you've got 2 pieces of kind of swirly blotchy paper. I ran both of those through the butterfly embossing folder to give it those butterflies. Now, you decide if you want to. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to go through the process of doing it, but that's how I got the butterflies on there. And then I'm just lining my there's three different 4 by 5.5 pieces that you line up along the bottom. And then you've got a white piece that gets evenly spaced left and right and from the top to give you that fun frame along the top there. Now we're going to add this piece so that you get a frame of white up here that's a little bit narrower than the other strip there. And then we've got a 4 by 4 piece. It's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 so that you can fit a 4 by 4 picture in there that I'm going to kind of put in this frame here. Now, before you do that, before you add this one, let me bring this up so you can see. I stamped 2 very light blue butterfly wings from here on there. So you decide if you want to do that part. Okay. Then we've got the butterflies that we need. Are where? So I got some of my butterflies on there, but let me show you what I'm going to do for this butterfly right here. I'm going to take my little Stampin' Spot ink. This is Pebbled Path, but you can use whichever one you want. And first you're going to run this through the embossing folder. So if yours hasn't already been embossed, you're going to run it through the embossing folder. It fits perfectly right inside here and lines up with that middle butterfly and embosses it. Okay, so that's how I got the embossing on there. If yours is already embossed, if it's not, that's how you do it. And so I can rub my ink over top of this embossed image, and the ink is sticking to the part that's popped up. Okay, so now we've got this fun butterfly. That's going to go right here. So I want his wing to kind of overlap this picture a little bit. All right, so I need my scissors because this wing is flying right off the edge. So we've got to snip that. The other thing I did, this body is a whole bunch of gems all lined up. It's the bigger ones from that collection. Or take a look at your stash and see what you've got that coordinates with these colors. I also did dash marks around the edge. And if you look real close where I stamped, in case you need me, I'm here. And the dash marks lead into the in and the U, but don't go through it. So just, fun little things that you can do to add some extra dimension. We're going to go to our next page, which starts the same way. So this is actually the left-hand page. And again, if you're going to do those butterflies, press those before you put it on the paper. But you want your butterflies, so when you're looking at this layout, the pressed butterflies are on the outsides. Okay. Ooh, we want this one. All right. So that's how you're going to start this page. Then we've got our photo mats. So we've got a 2 1/4 by 6.5. If you're going to do stamping, we've got, ooh, you need to come close for that. All right. So we've got some 3 wings up here done in that light blue, and then like 5 wings up the side on the outside of the layout through there. If that's what you're going to do, get those on there before we add this piece, which is going to be evenly spaced on that white. So you want the same amount here, here, and here on the white. And that gives us a perfect space for this 3 by 4 well to come down in this corner. And then our butterflies to finish up this page. And again, pop whichever ones make you happy to pop. I love foam tape personally, but it is a little extra work and adds some dimension. And then the last butterfly from this one goes right up here, kind of aiming right down into this picture, or right there. Finishing off this, of course, is all the texture that you can add to the butterfly wings, dash marks around the white, and then this butterfly has the little gems to create the body for that one. That's it for that set of pages, guys. I love how these turned out. All right, so with this one, there's some stamping. I stamped the little dots around the edge of this photo mat, the word hello. Obviously, the butterflies got stamped in whatever fun colors you decided to go with. Find my prep for that. My prep work for that one. I also stamped, I did random stamping. So just stamp and turn the paper, stamp and turn the paper with both different shapes of butterflies on both this peachy colored paper and the 2.5 by 2.5 squares. So if you want to do that prep work, you can go ahead and get that started. You may want to wait on the dots until that part's laid out. I also embossed the yellow piece with that embossing folder. Just dimensions, adds a whole bunch of fun layers to what you're working on. So I'm going to get started. Again, my sample here that I'm working on is not going to have all the extra butterflies and things on it. But that's how I got all those different textures on there, is stamping and embossing. Then we've got this fun texture. I love the design of this paper, all the bubbles. But let's make sure we get it in the corner. Okay. Then you've got that white piece of paper that's going to go next. And that is going to go evenly spaced. So you'll want to line that up so that it is even top, bottom, and along the right-hand side. Then we've got this yellow piece that, again, you can either emboss or not, totally up to you. That's going to come up about 3/4 of an inch in and up on the white, right through there. So you've got a nice little frame going. Then we're going to take our 6.25 by 8.5 piece for our photo well. And you want this even left and right and about 1.5 inches down from the top. So it's 2 inches in-ish, left and right. 1 3/4, and then 1.5 down. And then I took the 3x4 and overlapped it a little bit with these guys. Then for our butterflies, and these ones I didn't do as much coloring on them, but you certainly could, right? You make them yours. I thought they were really fun to play with. Really great stamp set, and the hybrid embossing folders. Just, it's such a cool technique, a cool concept to have um, the embossing folder that also has die cuts that go with it, because that's really how these work. Let me show you. You can actually take your paper, put your paper in there, put your die right in there, run that through, and it will cut and emboss at the same time. Yeah, I know. Amazing. La, la, la. Oh, wicked cool. All right, butterflies. That's where I was. I was doing butterflies. All right, this one that's kind of multicolored is going to come up at the top here. I'm pulling his wing down onto the picture a little bit. When I do that, I try to make sure I don't have any tape on the wing that's overlapping so that I can still slide my picture underneath there. It'll make your life easier if you remember to do that. But if you forget, just use, you can use your scissors and kind of get under there to lift it later if you need to. Ooh, sorry about the jiggles. All right, this butterfly here, and that is the last of the butterflies. Again, stamp whatever you want to stamp. And I did 2 gems down on the body for him and 5 gems, 5 of the little ones up there for him. Let's move on to the other side. So we're starting with our peach paper, 12 by 12, add that white on top of it, and then those darker peachy colored papers are going to go evenly spaced top, bottom, and in from the side of the white. Now you've got a whole bunch of 2.5 by 2.5 papers. The 4 yellow ones, oh, I lied, 2 of the yellow ones I ran through an embossing folder so that they're textured with the butterflies. So if you want to do that, go ahead. And then again, these 2 I did stamping on. You don't have to, you do you. So these just all line up evenly spaced through here. So do all those and all these. So now we've got all those squares placed. And if you want, go through and add those dots using that stamp. Add the dots down the sides if you want. And then this gets evenly spaced in that opening there. Okay, so then we've got whatever butterflies you've got for this one can get placed. So the big one here, the orange one up here, the blue. We've got the little guy here, this one here, and then I did 3 little gems for that body and 2 big gems for that body. And that'll finish up those pages. All right, the first thing we're going to do with this next set of pages is you need to figure out there's 2 of these textured papers that are 6 by 6, and there are 2 that are not. We're going to take the 2 that are 6 by 6 and set them aside. We don't need those ones yet. We just need the 2 that are not 6 by 6. We want them to be, let's see, let me double check my measurements. Looks like, there we go. Okay. So we want the lighter colored purple one, this one here, to be wider than it is tall. So wider, and this one is taller than it is wide. And that should line us up with a good square over here, adding this purple piece along the edge. All right, so this purple is going to go evenly spaced top and bottom and flush against the edge here. Then we take, now this piece, I ran through the embossing folder and made it covered in butterflies. And I did the same thing with the other one. So if you want this piece and the other 6 by 6 that looks like it to be embossed like that, go for it. I want some of that purple to show. All right, so this is going to go here, and this one's going to go right in here. For photo mats on this one, we have a 3 by 4 well, a 4 by 4, and a 4 by 6. The 4 by 6 is going to go about 1.25 inches up from the bottom and a little more on the purple than the textured paper side. So right about here-ish. Then the 4x4, well, we want to come slightly over, right? We've got a little bit of a space right in here. And then the 3x4 is going to go up even more and kind of fill in this space up here. Now, I did do some white splatters on the purple paper. You are welcome to go ahead and do some splatters or use your white gel pen to add some dimension to those if you'd like. I also took the white gel pen and did little journal lines around the edges here, up through here, and here, and that's going to carry over to the other page. I stamped "So Thankful for You" and added 2 purple gems up in the corner. So your body assembly here, we've got this piece that got embossed. So if yours isn't embossed yet, run that through the embossing folder so you get the fun texture. If you want to do that same technique we did earlier where you add the ink over top, that would look really cool too. I want this wing to kind of fill in the top corner there, and then I'm going to add this body to the wings. And you're going to want to line up the antenna. I think that's the easiest way to get this to land right, is to line up the antenna and pull it forward. So now, I mean, your butterflies can go anywhere you want them to go, right? But they're kind of all flying all over crazy. I want them going every which way. And I am actually lining them up using the same colors that I did on this one, but you certainly don't have to. Greeny peachish one. And then we've got kind of a bluish pinky guy up top. All right, and that finishes off that page. Whatever bling and doodads you want to add to it. But we're going to move on to our next, and I'm going to show you here how these two then, when they come together, these journal lines are going to carry over and around all the way around that page, if you decide you want to do those journaling lines. So this one's evenly spaced top and bottom, and you want the same spacing along the right-hand page there. Then this purple polka dotty one is going 1 inch in and 1 inch up on the purple. And this one's going to go 1 inch down and 1 inch in on the purple so that they overlap in the middle there. We've got some photo wells. So there's space for a 4x6 and there's space for 3x3s. Or you could have these pictures come off if they're a little bit longer, whatever it is you need to do. Now you do have an extra purple body. If you feel like this body is way too small for his little or his enormous wings, you can use this body. You have an extra and just color it before you add it. 'Cause, they are made from the same paper, so you might not be able to tell the difference until you add a little extra something to it. But I kind of like the little body on there. I think it makes it a little more character, a little extra fun. I do have, there we go. Okay. And let's see. Add just add your butterflies. That's it. Add your butterflies. And then I did a big gem and 2 little gems on the outside. That is the Beautiful Butterflies 8-page workshop featuring the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set, dies, and embossing folder. I am so happy. I love it. You know I do. Thanks for watching, friends, and Please comment. Come craft with me soon.